What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 154, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is going to be my quarterback stardom, sit-em, every single matchup. So we have to cover all the matchups here because BYEMAGGEDON is here. There is 6 teams on a bye. So you have the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, the Bills, Josh Allen, the Bengals, Joe Burrow, the Jags, Trevor Lawrence, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, and Derek Carr for the Saints. So we're down 6 starting QBs. So we're going to have to sift through all the matchups here, and I'm going to give you a green bar, yellow bar, and red bar. Green, obviously, must start. Red, obviously, must sit. And yellow, I'm on the fence with, as you can start or sit, depending on the defense statistics I'm going to drop. Before we dive into it, guys, smash that like, smash that subscription. Make sure you turn that bell on. I will be live Thursday before the game and live every single day till Monday. And if you guys can't make any of the live streams, you can always drop any comments you want down below. It does not have to pertain to this video. I try to answer every single one of them to help you guys get that weekly win. And we are close to the playoffs, guys, and get that ultimate goal of a championship. Let's dive into my quarterback stardom sit-ems for week 12. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my stardom sit-em QB board here. The black box at the top will always be the away team. The bottom box will be the home team. I'll give you a green, yellow, red. Obviously start, sit, and then in the middle between. And I'll give some defense stats on why I think it could be in between or not here. And I always throw a shout out to my co-host, Big Draft Energy, who's on my shows all the time. I'm on his shows all the time. He does great research behind the scenes that I use for a lot of my videos, stuff you don't normally see. So all his links and stuff like that are in the description, guys. Take a second. I know people don't usually do it, but support the family. He does great work behind the scenes, trust me. And if you guys like DFS or if you like Pick-Ems and stuff like that, this is also what he does. This is great information to have. So what you're going to see here is Big Draft Energy at Big Draft Headquarters, Big Drafters Headquarters as well on Twitter. Make sure you smash him a follow, or you can get your camera out, take a screenshot right here, a screenshot on your PC, whatever you do. This is the information you want to save. So this is quarterbacks with the most advantageous matchups for passing touchdowns. So this is the defense that give up the most passing touchdowns on the year. And look at the top 2 matchups here, guys. If you need a streamer quarterback play, Will Levis and Tommy DeVito, they have great matchups. And you can look back at Tommy DeVito's, last year's stats, and he didn't have Malik Neighbors. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he does. But again, these are the top 10. Take a picture here and move on to the next one here. This is going to be quarterbacks with the most advantageous matchups for passing yards. So again, you see Tommy DeVito at the top. He could be a great streamer play this week, guys. Justin Herbert versus Baltimore. Of course, I had Russell Wilson on a smash versus Baltimore. They got the most passing yards last week, and he absolutely shit the bed. So that kind of hurt there. But you see Anthony Richardson up there as well. I'll get to him and why I like Anthony Richardson so much here later in the video. Now, let's dive into the Thursday night football matchup, the division crazy grunge match. I think it's going to be another ugly, very cold 49-degree weather game here. And even when I looked at it last week, right, and I was like, the Ravens give up the most to the quarterback, they give up the most to the wide receiver, should be an absolute smash play. For some reason in these division games right here, it's always ugly. And that's why the over-under is at 36.5 for this game. So it's going to be very low scoring. So when I'm looking at Russell Wilson, does he have a great matchup? Yes. Everything on paper says great play here. So versus the quarterback, the Cleveland Browns are 30th. They give up 20.9 points, 28th on the season, but they have a good front 7. They're 6th in the red zone, 228.3 passing yards, which is bottom 10 as well there. And they're giving up 1.4 passing touchdowns a game. But again, it's a division game. You're looking at 40-degree weather, possible rain on a Thursday night game in a grunge match where it's at the dog pound and they get after each other. So Russell Wilson's not a sit and he's not a start for me. He is on the fringe. We also have Justin Fields, who's lost the job. Nothing there. Jameis Winston. This man has been slinging it across the yard in fantasy football. I mean, even last week in a loss, he went bonkers, right? But in this matchup, you're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you really want to start Jameis Winston or any quarterback versus the Pittsburgh Steelers? Look what happened to Lamar Jackson versus the Steelers last week. He had 11 points, and that is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers average per year versus the quarterback or per game. 11.5 points. That's number 2 in the NFL. Total points on the season, they're number 3. And in the red zone, they're number 4. They're top 5 in every single category. They allow 231 pass yards as well, which is top 10 there as well. going to be a tough matchup here. I know they're at home, but I know it's cold. And I think it's going to be more of a run game here just based on the weather and how ugly it looks. So I'm going to go with Russell Wilson as possible start sit, and I'm going to go with Jameis Winston as a sit. I cannot start a quarterback versus the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Heading over to another division matchup game here, the 3-7 Dallas Cowboys, whose season is completely over, are headed in to face the Washington Commanders. And they need a big bounce back game here for the Commanders. They were 7-2, now they're 7-4, 2-game losing streak here, two tough matchups again. Played two of the top defenses. This game's at a 44.5 over under, and this is going to be, I know Cooper Rush, I don't know what the hell is going on here. They named him the starting quarterback again. I know he just threw for 55 pass attempts and had great points in garbage time. I don't see that happening in a division game with the Washington Commanders here where they need a win. So that was an aberration game for him, getting 20 fantasy points. I'm still not starting Cooper Rush. The Washington Commanders currently right now versus the quarterback. And if you guys have been subscribed to my channel or following from previous videos, the Commanders defense was terrible to start the season. So Dan Quinn has Coach of the Year in my book already locked up, switched to the single high, and their defense has gone from 30th to 32nd where they were in every single category, and now they're about top 15 to 18 in every single category. So this defense has gotten a lot better. So they currently give up 16.5 points to the quarterback, which ranks 18th. That's gone up like 14 spots. They add Marshawn Lattimore too as well. That's going to be a nice addition. 22nd on the season, 20th in the red zone, and 200.6 yards allowed, which is top 10 yards allowed, which is very nice. So that's what I'm saying here with the Commanders defense. They're getting better. I'm not starting Cooper Rush. Jaden Daniels, the bounce back game is here. You get the Dallas Cowboys. This defense is decimated across the board. We don't know if we're going to see Lewis out there. We don't know if we're going to see Deron Bland out there. Honestly, you don't even know what starter is going to be out there for the rest of the season because it's pretty much over for the Cowboys right now, right? So I have Jaden Daniels as my QB1 this week, guys. It is time for them to unleash him. I know he's had that rib injury on the side, and they've been kind of holding him back, and he hasn't been rushing as much. Your season's starting to crunch down for playoff seeding here now. So I know you just played Pittsburgh and Philly, two of the top defenses, very tough matchups. Now you get the Dallas Cowboys, who give up 20 points to a quarterback every single week. They rank 25th. They rank 25th on the season. They rank 28th in the red zone. I expect Terry McLaurin to get back on track in this game. I'll get to him in my wide receiver video. They give up 230.5 yards a game to the quarterback, which is about bottom 12, bottom 15 right there. And they give up 1.8 passing touchdowns a game, which is what you're going to look for here. You're going to hope that Zach Ertz, you're going to hope that Terry McLaurin gets back on track. Their corners are beat up across the board. Their defense is beat up across the board. Their offense is beat up across the board. This is the Jaden Daniels get right back into the conversation quarterback game here, and I absolutely love him this week. Sunday Night Football, the banger is here. The Los Angeles Rams will be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, and this one you're going to have to pay attention to here because I got a little trick savvy play here if it matches to your matchup here. So obviously when you're looking at Jalen Hurts, there's no way you're ever sitting this guy as a quarterback, right? It's just get that out of the way. He's my number 3 quarterback on the week. Los Angeles Rams give up 13. They rank 13th, giving up 15.7. 11th on the season, 9th in the red zone, so about a top 10 to 11 defense across the board versus the quarterback. 245.4 passing yards allowed, but they're very good versus the wide receiver. They're number 1. So this is why what I'm looking at. Let me backtrack here. When I'm going to the Eagles, they're in a dome. The weather's not bad. They're going to be flying around. This is going to be a trap game for me here. So I'm looking at the Rams, and it's going to be a trap game where I have Matt Stafford on a sit-em. So just like I said, with the Philadelphia Eagles, they're number 4 versus the quarterback. They're number 1 versus the wide receiver. Everything looks very bad on the side of Philly, right? So they also only allow 186.9 yards, which is second to the wide receiver. But you are going up against Cooper Kupp. You are going up against Puka Nacua, 2 wide receivers who are very elite that I have ranked 5 and 6 on the week, both with 100 yards last game. Sean McVay's offense is a nightmare to stop. But I still have Stafford on a sit-em. But you can start Stafford, and this is one of my plays here I'm looking at this week, if your opponent has Puka Nacua or Cooper Kupp, because you need to play the block here. That's the only way I would start Matt Stafford this week. I do not like it in any other single way. I think this is going to be more of a game that's won with the Rams defense that's improving and Kyren Williams more than I think that's going to happen with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, but they're still startable for sure. It's just going to be one of those weird trap games, and I have the Rams winning this game. The game of the week, baby. Monday Night Football, 7-4 Baltimore Ravens heading into the 7-3 Los Angeles Chargers. And you just saw, like I said before, that Ravens, Pittsburgh, ugly, grind fest, division game. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the Steelers and Browns now. Now in this game, this is going to be a shootout game. This is a different schemed up battle here. I know the Chargers defense is great. I know the Ravens run D is great. But I'm throwing all that out the window. I think this game is going to be like 32-35. I really think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So does Vegas, obviously, with the spread at 50 points, right? So when you're looking at the Chargers, their defense is great. Versus the quarterback, they allow 16.2 points, middle of the pack there, 13th on the season, 8th in the red zone, so about a top 10 defense across the board. 223.9 yards allowed per game passing, which is about top 12 to 15 as well. And then you go to the Ravens side. Ravens versus the quarterback right now just had a great game versus Russell Wilson, so it obviously boosted their stats up when he scored 10 points. So they really have been low. So the Baltimore Ravens still held, think about it, still held Russell Wilson to 11 points or like 12 points last week, and they still ranked 29th versus the quarterback, giving up 20.9 points. They rank 30th on the season, 18th in the red zone because that front seven is good. 304.5 passing yards allowed per game. This is why I loved Russell Wilson and George Pickens so much last week, even though Pickens had a decent game. Russell did not. Justin Herbert is going to be an absolute smash start this week. Both these quarterbacks are going to light it up, and I have both these quarterbacks in my top 6 baller tier rankings this week, and I cannot wait to see this game on Monday night. Another all systems green game here, and my goodness, I have to apologize. I had Jared Goff as an absolute sit last week. The Lions are headed in to face the Indianapolis Colts, who's your fantasy football pot of gold. And what I thought last week with Jared Goff, when I was looking at it, I was like, well, let's just put him red because the game script, they're just going to run over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he won't need to pass much. That's exactly what they did. They ran over the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they were up 30-plus points with their starters out there in the fourth quarter throwing the ball. So Dan Campbell sent a message to the NFL last week. I'm never going to sit the Lions ever again, or in a matchup where I think, I'm not going to say I'm never going to sit them ever again, in a matchup where I think the game script's going to be bad, because obviously he just had a vendetta or whatever he wanted to just throttle the Jags to death, man. That was absolutely horrible to watch. Like, Mac Jones was the backup quarterback out there, and they had their starters playing with 10 minutes left in the fourth, up 35 points passing the ball. Absolutely bonkers to me. So Jared Goff is going to get the Indianapolis Colts this week. They give up 17.1 to the quarterback. That ranks 22nd. They rank 24th in the season, 27th in the red zone. Like I said, the Colts can't stop anything on defense. 245.2 pass yards allowed and 1.5 passing touchdowns a game. Light him up. Start every single line you have. This is why I'm very high on Sam Laporte if he's out there as well. They're very bad versus the tight end, very bad versus the wide receiver, very bad versus the running back. Now, let's clap it up. Anthony Richardson. I was the only content creator on the planet last week to say he was a smash start. I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one. There's something about a NFL caliber player, professional athlete, that when they get put down, when they get blasted on social media, they just come back with a vengeance. That's exactly what happened. And I called the 2 rushing touchdowns as well, which is absolutely crazy. Now, you're going to get the Detroit Lions in this game. He just passed for 272 last game, right? Detroit Lions front 7, very good. But when you blitz, when they come on the edges with the front 7, what happens? The quarterback steps up and runs. So when you're looking at the Lions defense, they do rank 6th versus the quarterback, giving up 13.4 points. 5th on the season, 7th in the red zone, so almost a top 5 to 6 defense all the way around. But they give up 250 pass yards a game to the quarterback, which is bottom 5 in the NFL. And if the Lions get ahead, that's what you're going to see here is Anthony Richardson flinging the ball, and they're very susceptible to deep balls. So Josh Downs, Alex Pierce, if you need a dart throw on BYEMAGGEDON, these guys are going to be nice plays because this game could be a full passing game from the Colts here. I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to see much running work. The Detroit Lions are very good versus the run. So this is going to be another Anthony Richardson smash start. He will be on my smash start video as well. And I absolutely love both these quarterbacks this week. My sleeper stardom pick of the week game is here. The Tennessee Titans are headed in to face the Houston Texans. Now, Will Levis, guys, this is something you need to be looking at in fantasy football right now. So we'll talk about the Titans-Texans game after I break down a little bit of Will Levis here. So back-to-back, averaging 20-point games in fantasy football versus the Chargers and the Vikings. So they're 2 of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. You're going to get Houston now. Cooper Rush just played garbage time, 55 attempts, had 20 fantasy points. Will Levis may be a start here again. He's going to be a start for me, but he may be a start for you over some of your quarterbacks that you think that shouldn't be starting. But what you have to look about, guys, ahead here is the playoff schedule that Will Levis is going to get. He is going to get Week 14, Jacksonville, Cincy, Indy, Jacksonville, Houston. That is an unbelievable all systems green. When you're dropping 20 fantasy points a game, and he's passed for about 240 yards in both games, and he gives you like a 30-yard rushing upside with a possible rushing TD. This is a quarterback I'm looking to grab for the rest of the way for fantasy football. And people aren't going to think it's pretty, but these are the numbers you have to know. These are the plays you have to know in fantasy football. Now, heading to this Houston Texans game here. They even have the over-under at 41.5. I think that's a little low. I think it'll be higher than that. But when you're looking at this game, the Houston Texans versus the quarterback, right? I would explain them like the Detroit Lions, okay? So the Houston Texans defense right now, currently, they're giving up 16.2. They just had a big jump, giving up 20 points to Cooper Rush in garbage time, right? So that boosted them up a lot. 21st on the season, 8th in the red zone because their front seven's very good. Whenever you have a good run game, stopping, get to the red zone, shrinks down. It's always tougher down there. Now, here's what you have to look at. They give up 210 passing yards a game, 2 passing TDs a game. And then you have to go look at the wide receiver and how many yards they give up to the wide receiver. They give up 152. They rank 25th. So what happens in a bad game script here, which could happen for the Titans, is they get behind and they pass a ton. That's probably how it's going to be the whole season for Will Levis here. So this is why I really like this pickup in fantasy football, and you should be looking at it. And he's startable this week, and I'm going to be starting him in one of my big, very competitive 14-man leagues this week. And people are going to trip out, and it's going to be a great play, and I absolutely love it. CJ Stroud and the Texans, man. This guy is just, this is why we were out on him in all of our videos before the season started. Even with the, I know he had a couple injuries which really hurt him with, Stephon Diggs going down and Nico Collins going down for 6-7 games with a hamstring. But this is what you have to look at. So how many games on the season this year has CJ Stroud thrown for had 20 points in fantasy football? Only once. Versus the fantasy football pot of gold Jacksonville Jaguars. The only game on the season he's had 20 points in fantasy football, which is absolutely bonkers to me. He's also had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games under 15 points. Now you're playing the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are number 4 versus the QB. Very good front 7 versus the run against Joe Mixon. Very good corners. Maybe Snead will be back out there this week. I haven't seen the injury update yet. Number 11 in the red zone. So, I mean, in a game where I think the Texans are going to get ahead by a lot here, it's kind of, I'm not going to like CJ Stroud again. And I don't think you should be starting him. And if you own him, you're probably like, do I drop this guy at this point? That's how bad it's getting. So I would rather start Will Levis over CJ Stroud this week. The Kansas City Chiefs, coming off their major loss to the Buffalo Bills, are heading into Carolina for a cakewalk win, guys. And this is one of the tough ones for me. I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes on a start here because obviously the Carolina Panthers are terrible versus everything. They're one of the 3 pot of gold teams for me. So it's the Carolina Panthers, Jacksonville Jaguars, Indianapolis Colts. That's who you start everyone against. But could this be a bad game script where you see Kareem Hunter, possibly Pacheco if he's out there, maybe even P. Ryan at this rate? Because Carolina is the worst in every single category at stopping the run. So for me, when I'm looking at this, the Carolina Panthers, they give up 20 points a game to the quarterback. So obviously aberrations start there, right? They rank 29th on the season. They give up 230 pass yards and 1.8 passing TDs. But if Mahomes doesn't get those TDs early, which I think he is, I think he's going to get D-Hop involved. I think he's going to get Travis Kelce more involved. Coming off a terrible game last week for Travis Kelce. I just fear down the stretch you're just going to see him pound the run out here, and it's going to be an easy win. But still, Mahomes is a start for me. The matchup is too good. I'm just saying temper your expectations, probably because game script. On the Bryce Young side, no bueno here. I mean, I know they're coming off 2 wins. I know they're getting Adam Thielen back, and you're probably going to see Jonathan Brooks debut, but this is a very good Kansas City Chiefs defense. Number 1 versus the run. And right now versus the quarterback, the Kansas City Chiefs give a 16.9, which ranks 21st. They rank 22nd on the season, giving up 222 passing yards and 1.4 passing TDs a game. Still, I'm not starting Bryce Young versus this Chiefs defense, especially when the Chiefs are coming off a loss. They're going to come out pissed off. Our first sea of red game is here, guys. This is going to be one of the defensive battles of the week, man. You're going to have Chicago Bears hosting the Minnesota Vikings. And just look at this. So the 8-2 Vikings head into the 4-6 Bears. They're trying to save their season. 39.5 is the over-under. That's how good these defenses are. So Sam Darnold for me, I mean, he proved me wrong last week. I did not have him as a start versus Tennessee. I don't think most people did, and he absolutely popped off. But the Chicago Bears are number 1 versus the quarterback. They're number 2 in the red zone, and they give up 213.7 passing yards, which is top 5 there as well, and 0.7 passing touchdowns a game at Soldier Field in the cold weather. It's supposed to be 48 degrees. I'm not touching Sam Darnold, and this is why I'm a little lower. You're going to have Jalen Johnson out there on Justin Jefferson as well. He's one of the highest-ranked corner in the NFL. So this is one of the toughest games for me, like starting-wise for fantasy football, because I think it's going to be a really, really ugly grunge game here. Caleb Williams' side. New coordinator comes in. They hang in with Green Bay. They had him, too. I mean, block field goal at the end to ruin the new coach, and I have that weird feeling when you fire your coach, new coaching staff. I said last week on the video, I was like, man, this will be one of those games the Bears just win, and they had it, dude. But now you get the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings versus the quarterback, number 8. So both these teams are top 10 versus the quarterback. They're number 16 in the red zone. They allow 257 pass yards, which is middle of the pack, 1.5 passing TDs. But again, it's going to be 40 degrees in this game, and it's going to be defensive nightmares for these quarterbacks, and I do not like either of these quarterbacks in this game. The game I'm really going to be glued to because I am rooting for this Dolphins season comeback, man. The New England Patriots are headed in to face the Miami Dolphins, 3-8, 4-6, division matchup, 45.5 over under, Miami favored by 7. I like the Dolphins to smash in this game. But when I'm looking at Drake May here, and same thing as last week here, it's going to be a tough matchup for Drake May. Miami's number 3 versus the quarterback. They only give up 12.3 points. They're number 3 in the red zone, and they give up 210 passing yards and 1 pass TD a game. So it's going to be a rough matchup, and the Dolphins defense is rejuvenated. They're fighting for their season here. So they need to get this win to get 5-6 to get back in the playoff picture. So when I'm looking at Drake May, he will give you the rushing upside. Doesn't have a lot of weapons. It's an okay matchup for Hunter Henry, his main target. And you've seen a little Keyshawn Boutte and a little bit of Kendrick Bourne. It's not great. The Miami secondary is very good versus the wide receiver. I don't like the sit for Drake May, but if you need to throw him out there, I'm okay with it because he does offer the rushing upside. He had a game with 89 rush yards this year, so it can happen for him. On to the Tua side, one of my smash starts last week, absolutely nailed it. We're going to ride it again, baby. The New England Patriots versus the quarterback right now. They rank 12th. They give up 15.5. They rank 17th on the season. They give up 229.7 pass yards, which is middle of the pack, and 1.5 passing TDs. But what we haven't seen yet from the Dolphins, either one of them, Waddle's been absolutely the worst pick in fantasy football for his value. But we haven't seen that Tyreek Hill ceiling game here yet. And I know Christian Gonzalez, everyone thinks they're so high on. He's one of the best corners. Yeah, he was coming in, but he's been kind of beat this year, guys. So he's kind of dropped down out of that elite tier for me at cornerback here. And Devon Achane's going to have a monster game here. The Pats really struggle versus the run. I love Tua and all the Dolphins this week. The playoff fighting Denver Broncos are headed in at 6-5 to face the 2-8 Las Vegas Raiders, whose season is completely over, guys. And now, dude, Bo Nix. So even in my waiver wire video this week, he was only owning 49%. I'm sure that's gone up by now. How can a quarterback 7 on the year only be owned that much is crazy to me. This is an absolute smash matchup again for Bo Nix. You get the Las Vegas Raiders. They give up 18.5 points to the quarterback per game. So right there, you're already looking at a great floor. 24th. They rank 31st in the red zone, giving up 8.8 to the quarterback. So even worse there. 219.2 passing yards, 1.8 passing touchdowns a game. Cortland Sutton has found a groove with him. They don't even use a tight end. The rushing upside that Bo Nix gives you, and the Raiders having all the injuries they have and being decimated. I know when I look at Gardner Minshew, right? I'm not starting Gardner Minshew, but he did throw for 300 yards last week. But you're going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL this week. The Denver Broncos I think they're the best defense in my opinion. They're ranked number 5 versus the quarterback. They give up 13 points a game. Number 5 in the red zone, 211 pass yards, which is top 10 there as well, and 1.1 passing TDs. No bueno. You're going to have Patrick Surtain lock up Jacoby Myers. We don't even know who's playing running back. Could be Amir Abdullah. Could be Alexander Madison. Could be Zamir White. Could be Dylan Labe, the rookie. See what he has. It's over for the Raiders, and it's super ugly. And I know it's usually a division matchup between these guys. It's usually like a grunge battle. But in the Raiders situation, I think it's just done for them. Oh my God. My 49ers need to bounce back, man. We're heading into Lambeau Field. We have owned the Packers for the past 4 to 5 years. The game's at 47.5. The 5-5 49ers are fighting heavily in the NFC West with the 6-4 Cardinals, 5-5 Rams, 5-5 Seahawks. Everything is on the line for the NFC West. Green Bay Packers 7-3, coming off that big block field goal to help them versus the Bears. 47.5 over under Green Bay minus 2.5. And it's going to be cold. It's going to be 40 degrees. This is going to be something that the Packers are used to, but so are the 49ers. They've been traveling cold games a lot for the playoffs here for a long time here. Brock Purdy's used to it as well. And I'm going to put both these quarterbacks as a start, and this is one of the games, not just being a Niner fan. I'm actually a fan of like all teams. I love the NFL, but obviously the 49ers are my team. But when I'm looking at this matchup, the Green Bay Packers are good versus the quarterback. They rank 8th. I'm throwing that out the window. Shanahan's system creates different schemes. I see him season to have a monster game this week. I just feel it. He's been so close to popping one. It's going to happen. 13th on the season. They have 226 pass yards, middle of the pack there, and 1.3 TDs. 49ers right behind them as well. Great defense here as well. 10th versus the quarterback, 14.1. 12th on the season, 210 pass yards, 1.1 TDs. So it's absolutely even across the board. Niners are going to get Tre'Davious Ward back as well, which is going to be nice in the corner there. You know, the death of his daughter he missed last week, which prayers up to him. That's absolutely crazy. Hopefully Bosa's back out there. I haven't seen the update for him. And it's going to be just a high shootout game here. I don't care that it's cold. When you get LaFleur, when you get Shanahan going at it like this, and every single game they do, you will look at the playoff games from the past 3 years, man. They're like 35, 32, 31, 28. Every game is high scoring. I don't care that it's in Lambeau in the cold. Everybody's going to thrive in this game. And I hope Deebo Samuel can find his way back for the 49ers here because he's killing me lately. Division matchup again here between the Arizona Cardinals, 6-4, heading into the Seattle Seahawks. And like I said, man, the NFC West is stacked to the rafters right now. And Kyler Murray, I do not know why there is a red there. That is 100% not what I want. We're gonna change it mid-video as we go. So the Arizona Cardinals, and this is just off the top of the head, right? The Arizona Cardinals had the toughest schedule you could have for the first 10 games of the season, right? It was absolutely bonkers. Now, this is why I had every single Arizona Cardinal on a buy low when we were there. And this is how you maneuver in between stream to add a green to Kyler Murray when he had a red on him. I don't know why he didn't have a green. Sorry about that. So when you're looking at this, right? Now, let me just break this down for you and why I was so high on buying James Conner, why I was so high on buying Kyler Murray, why I was so high on buying Marvin Harrison before the bye week, which now your trade deadline is up. They played the Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl contender. LA Rams fighting for a playoff. Detroit Lions, Super Bowl contender. Washington Commanders, playoff, possible Super Bowl contender. Who knows? 49ers, contender. Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl contender. Chargers, Super Bowl contender. Dolphins, fighting for their life. Chicago Bears and the Jets, 2 of the top 5 defenses. Kyler Murray was QB9 through all of that, guys. Now, you get Seattle, Minnesota, Seattle, New England, Carolina, LA Rams. Oh, man, the Cardinals are coming, boys. And the Seattle Seahawks, if you've been a subscriber to my channel or watched ever since the beginning of the season, I said their defense was a fraud to start the year. They had 3 backup quarterbacks they played out the gates in Bo Nix's first game of his career. So, obviously, that defense came out as a top 3 defense. Now they're exactly where they should be. They're 19th versus the quarterback, giving up 16.7, 23rd on the season, 226 pass yards, and 1.4 passing TDs a game. And Kyler Murray is going to expose them even more and drop them down where they should be this week. And it's going to be an electric game. I have Kyler Murray, my QB5 this week. On to the Geno Smith side here. So the Arizona Cardinals defense has gotten better over the past 2 weeks. They're coming off a bye here. They rank 14th versus the quarterback, giving up 15.8 points, 21st on the season, 233 pass yards, middle of the pack there, 1.1 TDs. So I know you have Jay Season coming onto the scene here, DK Metcalf back, K9, and you're going to have Tyler Lockett as well. I just have Geno Smith as not a smash, not a sit, right in the yellow. And this is one of the games I'm going to be glued to because my 49ers need to go up. Last but not least, to round out the stardom sit-em quarterbacks here, and this one's interesting to me, guys, and something you need to be looking into as well here. If you saw the beginning of the video, right? So if you saw the stats, the Big Draft Energy, one of my co-hosts of my shows posted right there for the quarterback, you need to look at these numbers here as well too. So this is going to be the Giants hosting the Bucks this week. This is going to be a 41.5 over-under game, 50-degree weather. It's going to be cold in New York always, right? We're heading to wintertime here. But Baker Mayfield, we'll go with him first. Obviously, you're starting Baker Mayfield when he's back out there. Mike Evans is back as well. The New York Giants do have a good front seven. Currently versus the quarterback, though, they give up 17.2 points, which ranks 23rd. They rank 10th in the red zone. Of course, that good front seven, like I said. 207 pass yards, which is top 10 there as well. And a 1.2 passing touchdowns. But you're going to have, obviously, you're also going to have the rookie back as well, too. So you have Jalen McMillan to go along with Mike Evans back out there. Sterling Shepard, K-Dot, we'll see back out there. Missing Chris Godwin's going to really hurt. Both running backs still out there healthy. I like almost all the Bucs in this game. I'm starting Mike Evans, K-Dot, and Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Baker Mayfield, all of them. But we'll get to that in my other videos. But this is what I wanted to talk about here. This is another sneaky play of mine right here. Tommy DeVito is going to be a start for me this week in fantasy football. And when you're looking at his numbers, right? So just go back to last year. Comes in as a starting quarterback in week 10. Gets thrown to the Wolves, to the Dallas Cowboys, who was the best defense last year in fantasy football. Got 13 points. Then played the Washington Commanders, threw for 3 touchdowns, 246 yards, 24 points to go along with 50 rushing yards in both those games. So he offers the rushing upside. Now, insert in Malik Neighbors, who was not there. Then you go to Green Bay, who's one of the better defenses last year, and in the cold. Throws for 158, 17 fantasy points, 71 rushing yards, right? So he does good there. And then he goes against Philly, gets absolutely destroyed, only played half the game, got hurt in that game. So, and he played the Saints as well. Saints were a great defense. That was a tough matchup for him. But when you're looking at the weapons he has, you get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're 32nd, dead last versus the quarterback. 23.1 points given up. 30th in the red zone. 281 passing yards allowed to go along with 29 rushing yards they allowed a game to the quarterback, and DeVito can run. Then you flip it over here and you go, look, let's go see what the Bucs do versus the wide receiver. They're 27th versus the wide receiver. 37.2 points. 163 pass yards allowed. DeVito's going to be a very, very sneaky play this week that I think people are overlooking, and I like him as a start this week along with Baker Mayfield. Thanks for rocking with me today. That is the end of the episode. Quarterback stardom, sit 'em every single matchup for week 12 with BYEMAGGEDON. Remember, guys, I really like Will Levis and Tommy DeVito as sneaky quarterback plays this week. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support this season. It's been absolutely amazing. I'll be live Thursday and then all throughout the weekend. And then we got all the holidays coming, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that. I'll try to do my best to get all my content out, but I don't know how it's really going to go there. And again, if you guys want to check out all my rankings, those are all out. I'm going to try and get my running back, wide receiver, tight end, stardom, sit-ems today. And then I'll do possible, I don't know what time I head in the office tomorrow, but possible sleeper, smash start, stuff like that on Thursday before the game. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope to catch you guys in the next episode. SleezBall out.